the one before it. But that's just me. What would you guys rather watch? Some of the original Olympic Games or authentic medieval jousting? Honestly, you can't go wrong, but I'm curious what you would rather watch and why. The early modern era. Even though the early modern era only consists of roughly 300 years of history, because it is placed in a time of such massive human and societal development, there is literally an endless plethora of unique pastimes I could talk about for people having fun in the early modern era. And it's for that reason that I'm not going to go super in-depth about any one activity, and I'm going to kind of do a speed round of a bunch of unique activities that people were just doing in the early modern era that I figured would be worth mentioning. During the 1800s in Europe, specifically Victorian England, an interesting trend and hobby arose known as mummy unrollings. During this time in history, there is a massive cultural obsession with Egypt in Europe, and general ancient civilizations as a whole. And one of the most unique forms of entertainment that came out of this obsession and public curiosity was the public unwrapping of ancient Egyptian mummified remains. At first, these mummy rolling events were typically only held or experienced by people that worked in the scientific field, as these mummies were hard to come by and the bodies themselves were controlled. But interestingly, after the 1832 Autonomy Act in Britain, doctors were granted more legal access to human bodies for dissection and study. And as an unintentional result, this allowed doctors to essentially more freely distribute mummified bodies, which were eventually used for mummy unrollings in hospitals, scientific institutions, and in some cases even private parties where tickets were sold, making the event much less about science and much more about pure curiosity and morbid entertainment. During the early modern era over in America, people weren't necessarily unraveling mummies, but they were playing with fire, or at least electricity. During the late part of the 18th century, in America and parts of Europe, public fascination with electricity began to grow like wildfire. And the result of this was electrotherapy parties. Like the money unwrappings, these electrotherapy parties were kind of branded as some sort of pseudo-scientific event, but it was really more so just to satisfy a curiosity and to have some fun. Although in this case, in a much less morbid way. Electrotherapy parties would essentially consist of a bunch of friends hanging out, playing with electricity to have a bit of a shock. No pun intended. People at the party would willingly subject themselves to mild electric shocks, typically static shock, for both amusement and suspected health benefits. People that commonly threw electrotherapy parties were either doctors, amateur scientists, or just rich people who were looking for something fun to do. But regardless, the intentions were the same. They wanted to show their friends how they could make their hair stand up, and they wanted to show how they could make a small strike of lightning with their finger touching a piece of metal. By modern standards, electrotherapy parties sound absolutely insane. But it is pretty cool and honestly a bit cute to see the innocent curiosity in electricity, and it's super fascinating to see how much our relationship with electricity has evolved over the last few hundred years. Like, could you imagine doctors, scientists, and rich guys like 300 years